Welcome to the CodPast podcast, where your fishy past hooks your brilliant future. With Dr. Deborah, Laura, and Dr. Trish.
Yay! We are finally live. We're together. That's what's so exciting, and we've just solved a big mystery.
Well, Facebook had me completely blocked out unless I authenticated something.
And we also need to push this now into Facebook, speaking of which.
Yes,
So you get to
live on Facebook. We'll see if it works this time.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then go into groups down there.
You want the Zoom meeting?
No.
Right.
It says,
Yeah. There you go.
it says group. And then you put in there. You have to type it because I have so many. Just type it up on the top. Yep. There you go.
There we go. All right.
My lipstick's
Now-
already worn off.
I know I don't have any lipstick. Okay. I think here we
Okay.
go. All right.
Thank you.
Welcome to the CodPast
And
podcast.
Byron brought the biggest computer in the car.
And
We've had a hard time. This has been very stressful.
I see like three of me. Oh,
You have to get out of
Live on Facebook.
all right. So, what are we going to talk about? Now that we finally got in, we can talk about problem solving.
First of all,
Welcome.
so sorry we're late today. What happened was Facebook locked me out of Facebook. So there's a reverberation going on. No, we need that. You need to get out of Facebook on your computer. And so not in there, just Facebook.
Oh, there we go.
Yep, there you go, thank you. So what happened was Facebook, I guess, has a new rule as of yesterday that you have to have a double
Two-factor authentication.
two-factor, and I didn't even know how to do it. And I didn't know how to do a code generator. And all four of us were working on solving this issue. And in the meantime, we're staying in a haunted hotel, the San Carlos Hotel, downtown Phoenix, because we're looking for where we're gonna do our next retreat. And in the meantime, because we were interviewing Dr. Davies here, my buddy of so many years, he, all the way up from Tucson, brings this gigantic computer and screen. So we had to figure out how to log into his computer as me with Facebook that blocked me. So that's why it took us so long, but it could be that we also are, oh yeah, this is cute.
We're being haunted.
Yeah, we are being haunted.
Actually, we are in a room that is a suite. We got a suite deal. The suite, our friend downstairs, Tony, gave us a suite deal, and we're in the Spencer Tracy suite. And we are 2 rooms down from the haunted hotel room. But this morning, unless Deborah did some trickery, that our hot water faucet turned itself off.
By itself.
Was it you, Deborah?
We've also had a whole bunch of other miracles happen. We went over to the Franciscan Renewal Center because that's probably where we're gonna have our next retreat. We did the labyrinth, and I'm overhearing somebody talk about my college in Durango, Colorado, Fort Lewis College. And Fort Lewis College had something called FAC, and you noticed FAC CodPast, because it was Friday afternoon club, and it was really kind of where we all ended up secretly drinking, but the whole college had FAC on Friday. And so people would post like, we're gonna have FAC at my house, we're gonna have FAC at this bar. The whole college would figure out where they were gonna do FAC that day, and they had a lot of choices. Anyway, I hear this guy talking about where my mom worked and Durango, Colorado, and I just went over and interrupted.
Yes. That was so
You're
awesome.
talking about Durango, and you're talking about this doctor my mom worked for, Dr. Pavanka. And he goes, yeah, Dr. Pavanka's funeral was just recently. You know?
Aww.
And he said, I said, I noticed your nameplate says Charlie. Are you like the person in charge of the whole thing? He goes, oh yeah. I said, did you go to Fort Lewis College? He said, yeah. I said, we're about to do FAC. And he goes, I haven't done FAC forever, can I come? So we've had some miracles today, but one of them was late for you guys.
But we're here with Byron, and we want to talk about education and
Byron.
maybe some synchronicity as well in
Well,
his life.
do we have a
and things
joke?
like that. I did not prepare a joke.
Okay, you have a joke. So Byron, what's your fishy past story?
My fishy past, there's a lot of fish in my past. but the one story that really comes to mind was when I was in my late 20s. And I was in rotten shape. I mean, I had literally 8 different things going wrong with me. I was depression, I had dandruff, I had bad body odor, I had foot fungus, I had bad breath.
This is making me sick.
I know.
You have to look at the camera so people see that it's you talking.
They're like a married couple. They're hilarious. They've had such a good relationship all these years.
The problem I was looking at me.
I know. I always look at myself. It's kind of weird.
Which brings us to something we will talk about in a little while. He's recently become a rock star. So anyway,
Yes.
so you have this fishy past with
Okay,
this
so
body.
anyway,
body.
my body is like totally out of control.
Were you married then?
Yes. But I don't blame it on her. It wasn't her fault. And a black swan appeared. It was a doctor. It was just by chance that I found out about him. Because it turned out my roommates, the Texas Instruments, my office mate at Texas Instruments had some allergy problems. And actually his problem was that every day at a certain time, he would get a migraine headache. It was really weird. It's like always like on the dot. And so I went to this doctor who was just an expert in figuring these things out and a lot of other things. And found out that this was due to the fact he was allergic to coffee fumes. That our office was next door to the break room. And every day at 3 o'clock, they'd turn on the coffee maker and he'd come down with a headache.
How'd you guys figure that out?
The doctor helped him figure that out.
So the doctor must have had intuitive stuff.
And just a lot of knowledge. And I was having all these different problems, even arthritis. At 27 years old,
wow.
I had arthritis in my sternum. That was an excuse for that because I had kind of parallel bars injury. But I had arthritis in my sternum. And what finally got me to go to the doctor was I had neck swelling. There was swelling on the side of my neck, and that can be dangerous. It swelling. So I went to the same doctor, and he figured me out too. And turned out a number of things. So first thing that I always suggest for people is to turn off natural gas, because natural gas, about 1/3 of people are sensitive to natural gas, and it causes all kinds of problems, like depression and skin problems and so on.
But I need to add that you were already having fishy past stuff happen because you graduated college the first time.
Yeah. Well,
At 17.
Yeah, that's another thing.
And-
But let me, I'll say, I'll end the story quickly.
Okay.
And so I went through it, did a 7-day spring water fast, nothing but spring water, and started introducing foods into my, turned out I was allergic to 4 different foods. Eliminated those 4 foods from my life, and my life was completely transformed between the natural gas and getting rid of household chemicals, scented things, and 4 foods. I was transformed. It was amazing. So yeah, going back.
That's amazing. Well, I mean, I've known you for a long time. We are sometimes funny because we're like a little married couple, but we love each other. And
even though we're like a married couple.
oh yeah, I should kind of introduce you formally. Dr. Davies is probably one of the smartest people I've ever met. He has he's accomplished so many things in his life, and he graduated.
I've only just begun.
I know, all of us have only just begun. So we met because we both had a common mentor. He's one of the smartest people on the planet. He was a physicist. He knew everything about everything, and he was famous at the time because he had kind of coined a phrase that was being thrown around at the time of quantum scientists, and it was called K-word, chaos and order together. And a K-word now is a very systematic way of thinking in chaos and order, and I was fascinated by it. I read a lot of books about it. I contacted Jack Ring, and Jack wanted me to meet Byron because he said he was smarter than he was, than Jack was. And so we got together. We had a few other people in that room that night that I was trying to figure out what causes people to become happy or mad, or how do you attain world peace. That was basically what I wanted to do. And I wanted to know, where does it start that people get so whacked out? And Byron and I clicked because we were talking about these really deep concepts that are pretty weird to talk about from any point of view, but we understood what we wanted, and he was fascinated by learning. And like, how does it occur? What do you do? What's the process? And he loved kids like I did. He's got children like I do. And I was fascinated. We started working together most of the time as he volunteered for my schools. I had K-12 schools, and we got invited to work on the X Prize for reading, for us to teach reading to kids, or have them teach themselves how to read without an adult interaction, just with a computer. And this was a contest that was thrown out by Peter Diamandis, and we both got deeply involved, had a huge team, and we were really rocking and rolling. And Laura was part of that team because Laura was the reason, really, I met Peter Diamandis in the first place. And so we got up into the edges of being a potential winner of that prize, but I got heebie-jeebies about it because I thought they were going in the wrong direction. I didn't like what was going on, and so I killed the project at the top. But we learned so much, and Byron had been the head of that project, and he decided, he just told you a story about a black swan, and I'm gonna let him tell the story of what it is, but he decided to name this company Black Swan Learning, which I love because I grew up in Japan, and Japanese gardens many times have white and black swans to show how unusual they are. But anyway.
That's interesting. We have white and black shirts and everything, right?
Right.
Wow! Oh, I just got chills.
I forgot to wear my Black Swan t-shirt.
We want Byron
Okay,
to
well,
definitely
let me tell you about Black Swans.
Yes,
And we would like you to
There's
agree.
Black Swan theory. There's a guy named Nassim Taleb who wrote a book called Black Swan Theory. Basically, his concept of Black Swan came from the original Black Swan incident. And that is, for thousands of years, people thought there were only white swans. And it was built into the definition of swans. For a time, the collective noun for swan was the whiteness of swans. So everybody thought that swans were white, as everybody in Europe at least thought that swans were white, because that's the next step. And so the first black swan event was when explorers went to Australia and they discovered black swans. And this was just a total shock to them, and it just upset the concept of black swan. So Nassim Taleb took this, and particularly started with the 9/11 event. And right now calls that a black swan event, because it was just completely unexpected. If you'd ask anybody, if you've been on the street in New York the day before that happened, and said, well, what's the probability that those two towers will be rubble tomorrow? And it's like zero. It's not going to happen. Well, it did happen. And it was a black swan event. It's completely unpredicted. Well, turns out that there are.
I have a tiny emergency. One of my kids.
yes.
So my black swan event with respect to learning was discovering a language teacher who could teach a language in 3 days. And it's like, really? Does this work? Is that possible? Well, it turned out he'd been doing it for decades and he charged people $20,000 to do it. And yes, he could do that. Now, mind you, in 3 days, there's a limit on how much vocabulary you can learn. But basically, after 3 days, people had complete command of the grammar of the language, not by being taught grammar, but by learning the grammar through lots and lots of examples and a special kind of training. And I cogitated on it. It's like, well, what does this mean? I mean, why isn't everybody doing this? Why aren't we doing it in schools? Why aren't the language people in schools doing it? And everybody has this universal experience. They go to high school and learn a language for 4 years, and they come out and go to the country where that language is used, and they can't speak it. It's like, well, what's wrong with this picture? Well, it's something's very wrong, and so we need to fix it. And that's my mission, to bring that kind of learning capability to everyone, make it available and affordable to everyone through software.
That's amazing. And when do you have any time frame on this one?
Well, we did some work in the language area, and I worked with some amazing people. I never got to work with the guy, the 3-day language guy, Michelle Thomas, but another guy came along named Mihalis Eleftheriou. You can go to languagetransfer.org. He had a completely different business model. Instead of charging people $20,000, he said, let's make it available free on the internet. And so he made these recorded lessons. Like I said, languagetransfer.org. You can go learn Spanish or French or Greek or what have you. It's not the same as the in-person experience, but I think you'll still find it an interesting experience. And we actually, for the X Prize, we needed to have our app work in Swahili. And so I actually paid this guy, Mihalis, to create a Swahili course so that I could learn Swahili well enough in order to make our app work in Swahili.
Wow.
So
do you feel like you're proficient in Swahili?
No,
Oh.
not by now. And that wasn't the goal. I could have been a lot more proficient in Swahili, but I learned enough to get where I needed to go. His Swahili course is out there on the net. So a while later, after the X Prize has kind of gone into the over the horizon, a fellow reached out to me, and he noticed that I'd paid this other fellow to develop a Swahili course. He says, well, his method is nothing compared to our method. We have a much better method. It's better than Michelle Thomas, the 3-day language guy. It's better than Mihalis Eleftheriou, the free language guy. So would you like to be a beta tester? He's like, really? Could I turn that down? And so they were developing this German course for English speakers to learn German. There's a couple guys, Owen Richardson, a Canadian, and at the time his name was Stefan Dorn, a German. And they put together this language course based on a whole other set of learning technologies that I didn't know about. And so of course I signed up for it and went through it. And it wasn't a 3-day course. They envisioned it as something more like a 200-hour course. But in 200 hours, you would be fluent in German.
Wow.
Are you fluent in German?
No, I'm not fluent in German.
Come on, tell us how to count or something like
No,
strays, quadrants.
not it. So I'm not fluent in German, and it's been a while since I took this lesson. I haven't been in practice whatsoever. And they didn't finish the course. I mean, they had a breakup, multifaceted breakup. I mean, they were involved in every way, and it was a very, very sad situation.
What's your goal?
And so they developed this German course, and they took me about halfway through it before it just kind of collapsed. But it was phenomenal. Basically through numerous example after example, very quick, and following these methodologies that I would mention if I had more time. But one of them is direct instruction, and it's capital D, capital I, if you're looking it up. And it was phenomenal. You didn't have to study. There was no books. It was just you sat there and you listened and responded.
What I want to say something here. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I really want people to understand the complexity and the simplicity of what we hit as a result of doing these schools. We know, and we are totally convinced that the way people are taught to learn is I could say something very descriptive, but it's just backward. It is just completely backward to how the regular learning process works and how God made us. The beautiful way God made us is really to absorb information. It's very much like a computer a little bit. It's programming. And the reason we're all so screwed up as a society in wars and hurting the environment and not having the proper love relationships is because we're taught baloney. And the way we're taught is baloney. And it was just what we realized, and what Byron has triggered multiple different places, is that just like we know about everything, money drives everything. I mean, somebody who's in charge and has the most money is going to drive a result because they can afford it. They can buy the slaves that's what they want to do. And that's what's been wrong with our world, is that people didn't want to solve the problem. They wanted to make the most money. So I have always said, even when I was in venture capital banking, if money is the object, you're going to go off on the wrong tangent, because money should never be the object. It's the outcome from doing things right. But we've never done it that way. We've never said, well, let's just do things right, because if we did, we'd have Teslas, 333 stuff. Well, anyway, Byron has done multiple different pieces of how one learns, particularly having to do with reading. And he knows that we don't have to struggle with reading. We don't have to struggle learning languages. We don't have to struggle trying to memorize something. It's much more automated than that. But as our mentor said to us, Jack Green, Trish, keep it simple and significant. If you don't have an 80% hop on something, don't change it. Keep it static. Keep it going the same way so that you don't make people crazy by changing all the time. And keep improving it until you get an 80% hop, and then make the change. Don't make the change every single day. And he said, it's really easy to complicate things. It's really hard to get to the simplicity. Mm-hmm. And it has taken us, Byron and I have known each other, 16 years? I was 16, 17 years. Laura and I have known each other. We just figured it out this morning. It was crazy. It was
January of
2013.
Mm-hmm.
And we've all been working on how can we create world peace? But in the meantime, how can we be happier? Deborah always calls herself the professional encourager. Well, wouldn't you like for her to be out of a job? Can you imagine if everybody was just pretty happy and pretty well liked and all of that stuff? And so all four of us have been trying to crack this code for our whole lives. But it's very crazy that today, in the middle of Lent, we decided to be in one of the oldest hotels in Phoenix, or even in Arizona. San Carlos Hotel has history of having ghosts in it. I stayed here many, many times praying to see a ghost. And we're all together, and weirdly, we're in white and black. Black Swan.
Not planned.
Not planned at all.
Not planned.
And we've had quite an extraordinary morning, because we're getting ready to book retreats, because we know that the way you do anything is by touching something. We need each other. And no one's the same. Nobody, in the whole universe, you're it. And so we know God made us different for a reason. We're not, I mean, I know Japan is making all these robots, and I'm fine with it. It's just that they're never going to replace a human.
Just like Zoom. ZoomNet didn't replace human either.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. We love it. We
Right.
love being able to reach out to more people on Zoom and Facebook. I wouldn't know half my friends or what they're doing if it weren't for, Instagram or Facebook or something. Or my kids are all busy. I have to read about what they're doing on Facebook. But point is, we're all four together and we have more fun. We laugh, and we go on these adventures. We have been all over the world. We've done amazing things. And we just thought, if we could get people together, they could actually experience joy and fun.
Mm-hmm.
And if they could experience how easy it is to learn, because we have some of this broken down. You just do this, you're gonna be fine. You don't need to be in therapy for 20 years.
Yes, a retreat with us is cheaper than years of therapy and a lot more fun.
Yeah, all we do is have fun, but we love each other, we support each other. We have a philosophy of, I want for you whatever you want for you.
Yeah.
So even though I asked Byron to do things like, you should sit up straighter, because I worry about him, but we love and support each other, and we always will, we always have. And I don't need to have what Laura has. Laura, last night, finished double 75 hard. If you guys don't know what 75 hard is, you should do pound sign,
Yeah, that's
75 hard.
challenge.
I know, I would say challenges. She's the only person on the planet, including the guy who invented it, who's done it twice, and she did it exactly the way it was meant to be. It's like having a job. It's really hard.
It is like having a job.
75 hard is really hard. You have to exercise 2 45-minute times. One has to be outside. You have to drink a gallon of water. You have to take a picture of yourself every day because you've got to look at yourself. And you have to evaluate that. And you have to read 10 pages. And you have to be on a diet of your own doing. And you can't cheat. You can't drink.
Yes.
No,
So
why?
Trish and her hospitality got a bottle of champagne that we popped last night, and we toasted.
Is that
Yeah,
Irish?
No, but then we went to the wine, and that also wasn't Irish, but.
And then we went next door to McCaffrey's, who had the biggest, probably one of the biggest Irish parties I've ever seen in my life. And one of my friends a long time ago, and I'm going to keep this, named it St. Patricia's Day, because it shouldn't just be after a guy. And so, yeah,
Okay.
we're
I
on.
have a question for Byron too,
Yeah,
though,
yeah,
before
yeah.
we go. My question for
I think
you.
we're going to keep going.
Oh,
right?
we are?
We're
My
gonna
que-
go over to Clubhouse.
We have to go to
Yeah.
Clubhouse. But my question for you, Byron, is, because I just want to know, is you talked about teaching 2-year-olds. Why is it that your target is to teach 2-year-olds to
Oh,
read?
thank you, Claire. So, Trish got her promo in, and my amazing director of marketing Luna Lavender would be upset with me if I didn't get my promo in. So yes, in consultation, or actually in a course with Dean Graziosi, he's talking about how important it was when you want to start up a business to identify your dot and figure out what is that mini market segment, micro market segment that you're going to address and you're going to totally blow away. And so I thought about it for a while and said, all right, and this reading technology is going to be truly amazing. And we know that 2-year-olds can learn how to read in the right environment. And so I thought, well, how about if we make our dot loving moms of 2-year-olds who read to them regularly? And that will be a filter, because we want customers who really want to use what we have. They will all have a certain level of preparation, and we will have them reading by 3. And so we actually, one of our URLs is readby3.com.
Oh.
But the product, basically so far, at least the code name is Black Swan Reading, and it's going to be out this year.
That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal.
2022.
2022.
2022. Be 2 on 2022. Read by 2.
If you're 2 in 2022.
Yeah,
Yes.
That's great. That's great. And
Well, and today is the full moon.
Yeah.
So it's a day of manifesting anyway.
are we on Clubhouse now?
Oh, no, I forgot I was supposed to be
I
doing that.
thought you were putting us live on Clubhouse.
I
So we'll
was.
go over to Clubhouse and we'll shut this down when we
Or not.
Are we gonna just keep
Yeah,
rolling?
we can do both.
I don't know if we can. It might be feedback and stuff.
yeah.
Oh.
But we can end Facebook Live
Yeah.
and we can end the recording and then we can go over to Clubhouse and we'll just continue it. We can stay here and talk if you want.
Well,
but-
before you head off, let her try to get onto Clubhouse. In a perfect world, Byron, what does your perfect world look like for children, people, peace? What does that look like?
Our goal is to help 1 billion people learn. It's going to take some time. I mean, we're going to start reading as our first product. We're going to be driven by the needs of moms of 2-year-olds, and then they will become moms of 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds, and so. So probably the follow-on app will be arithmetic, and that's another thing that kids have trouble with. I mean, it's a sin, it's a tragedy in our world today that by the end of the 3rd grade, half of kids still can't read fluently. That doesn't make sense. They should be able to read by 3, not by 3rd grade. And so we'll make that happen. A lot of kids have really struggled with math too. And so we'll fix that problem. And we may move on to languages. There's so much competition in the language space now. I mean, you look at, there's one company out there which seems to have an unlimited marketing budget. So technology, but they're in everybody's face. We think we could do better, and so eventually in time we will. So we want to grow and eventually help 1 billion people learn.
That's awesome.
And I want them to learn more quickly, more reliably, more persistently, and more joyfully.
Yeah, joy, the flow, stay in the flow.
Yeah.
Because that is the intention of God. God did not want teachers to bang information into the top of your head. It was frustrating for is frustrating for teachers, frustrating for the children, and it causes major problems on the planet. Major problems, because a frustrated little kid grows up to usually be a really mean adult. And I worked with these millionaire, billionaire people in venture capital banking, and I couldn't understand why they had all this money and they were so miserable, and they were making everybody else miserable. And when I was working for Mellon, we were part of the World Bank, and they made decisions that would affect the entire country in a bad way.
Yeah.
And because they didn't care, because they were, because they were hurt little children. And hurt little children cause a lot of pain to the rest of the adults. And if you learn the right, here's what I used to say. If you want to be a good parent, go to puppy training at PetSmart, because they have a great puppy training program. They have really good puppy training. And the thing is, we're humans. We have to learn how to behave.
Yeah.
We don't come out of our mom being able to go through the forest and look for food.
That's
like
right.
a lot of
And
animals.
Actually, that's a new product. 4 o'clock this morning, I woke up with an idea for a new product. And that is training for parents so that they can evolve to become better parents, better teachers, and better parents, so that their kids can evolve into better humans. And so, yes, we have a training component. We've already identified our first customer for that, and so
Well, I want to be a teacher. I spent a long time learning about that. But really and truly, we wanted, when we had the schools, we wanted to test something that people would say, well, if you're icky by the time you're 5, you're going to be icky forever and all of that. And I didn't believe it. I thought people always have the capacity to change, and that you could always have a better life if you knew the scientific approach. And so for 3 years, Byron and I studied almost every day together on the phone, Wallace Wattles' Science of Getting Rich, because a lot of older books after that were based on that study. But the truth is, it all goes back to the Bible. It's like, be grateful in all things, because all things are for good, and don't complain, and be responsible to yourself and be of service to others, but don't live for others' responsibility. So it was, I'm learning my own stuff about not taking over people's lives, like saying, I want to always help, but that doesn't mean I get dumped on and have to take care of everybody's stuff that they should be taken care of, or the mess they caused. And so I think right now we're really on to something. Maybe it's the time, maybe it's all the years that we've spent to try to figure this stuff out. But I think together we are gonna impact. Peter Diamandis, I said, I should be a billionaire because I've done a lot of good, and I think people that do a lot of good should have the most money, because then they keep putting the money back in. Oops. They keep putting the money back in, and we're on Clubhouse now.
Oh, great.
And And we put the money back in because we're nice people, because we just want to make everybody happy and keep going. And that kind of an attitude, there's nothing, everybody can do whatever they want to do as long as they're responsible to each other, to themselves, and they let everybody live their own life. And so I think we're on to something. It's very fun, and I've been around watching all the breakthroughs that Byron's had all these years. And the number of times he gets new ideas, it's like every 5 seconds. And he's amazing. I don't know if I've known anybody that has changed as much as he has. So Byron, can you just reflect how you are as a person today from how you were as a person, say 10 years ago, or 20 or 30?
Well, I can talk about kind of the end point where I am now. I now feel healthier, more aware, more interested in things, and having more fun than I ever have in my life.
Yeah, I see it. I see it. Your skin looks beautiful. You're working out, you're doing yoga, you're doing all this stuff. And you are, you've got a new apartment that's gorgeous. I went over there the other day. I'm like, boy, I didn't know that you chose stuff like this. And we both have learned a lot about little health things you can do. So all this little equipment, like this thing generates energy, and it's Tesla's energy. And he's got all these. Tell them a couple of pieces of equipment that you have, because maybe somebody out here would love to go find it or buy it.
Are we okay staying on
Yeah.
Zoom? And
Who's there?
Yeah, yeah.
We can, or we can close down
Is
that and
that
then just
Fiona?
talk on here.
No,
What's Rosa?
Rosa.
Yeah, so we have, wondering. Okay, so we're gonna multitask here. What was the question, Trish?
okay, so the equipment in my apartment. Let's see. One of them is an inversion machine, so I can turn myself upside down and stretch out
And
my
those
back.
are easy. Those are on Amazon, like any kind of inversion. I love them. I used his the other day.
Yeah, and the best one is the Teeter brand.
The what?
Teeter,
How do you spell that?
like teeter-totter.
Oh,
Teeter-totter.
Because it works like a teeter-totter.
Yeah, I love to have
I don't get any money from them. I just
Yeah.
recommend their product. And another thing is the vibration platform.
That's amazing.
So stand on the platform. It vibrates you while you're standing there or doing
And let me tell
exercise.
you why that works. So your lymphatic system is bigger than you want to tell?
No, but I have a Vibe plate too. My mom used it, and it's supposed to help with the lymphatics.
Oh, it
Fluid,
helps
because-
with everything.
And the lymphatics, the lymphatic fluid goes in one direction, so it helps push it further.
Right.
Well, the
And
lymphatic
partly
system,
it does that because,
the lymphatic system is a liquid, just, it's like blood system. Only you can't really see it this clear, but it is the cleanup system in your body. And that's why they say people that come down with cancer probably had it 8 years coming, because it takes about 8 years of messing your body up before it actually manifests in cancer. But your lymphatic system doesn't move unless you move.
right,
So-
lymphatic system, the heart pumps your blood around, but there's no equivalent of the heart, your lymphatic system. So it depends on you moving your muscles to squeeze the tissues together to move the lymph around. And the vibration machine does that, it moves your muscles very
amazing.
effectively. You can get an hour's worth of exercise in 10 minutes because it moves your muscles so much.
Oh,
And
I
it,
didn't know
and
that.
that
How
also-
high do
How
high do you put it on the, how do you put it on the?
What setting?
Mhm.
I usually just run in the lowest setting because I'm not,
Other than we're
I
sitting
don't-
here. Go ahead.
I don't usually use it for exercise per se. I actually use it as a intensifier for my daily priming experience. And from Tony Robbins, and look up his video if you search for YouTube for Tony Robbins priming. He has a little 15-minute routine that get you ready for the day.
Can you do a little one with us?
Little priming.
Yeah, just like, 1 minute, 2 minutes, because
Well-
I have been doing it since he
Okay,
taught
well,
it.
how do I just explain what it is?
Okay.
Rather than lead you through it. Okay, so first there's some exercise, breathing to get you moving. Very good, ladies.
This is like an improv, there's an improv game.
Sitting
There's an
right.
improv
And
game that
then-
works like that. It's like you describe what they're doing. What are they doing? And we make up stuff.
And then you think of 3 things in your life, 3 events that you're grateful for. Go back in your past and just think of in 1, 2, 3 things that you're just so glad to have in your life. It makes your life better and make your life better even now. And then the next step is it's kind of a Qigong experience.
Qigong.
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 I like the way you say that, it sounds like it.
Where you bring in the energy from the universe, and you bring it down through your body, and then you bring it back up. And actually, there's energy channels down the outside of your leg. So you take the energy down through the outside of your leg, and then bring it up through the inside of your legs. And then you go out to the universe again, and you do that a couple times. And actually, you can feel it if you bring it down through your body. You can feel the energy going down through your body. It's an amazing experience. But then the second part of that is sharing the energy with other people. And you think of other individuals, and I do every day. I think I share this with Trish down in Tubac now, and with Luna in Colorado Springs, and with Laura in Washington, and Deborah in Michigan. And so I share the energy. And then the final part of it is to think of 3 things. This is the manifesting part. Think of 3 things that are going to happen, and that you're going to participate in making happen, and that you believe have already happened. So go back to what's the guy, not Hubbard. No, the guy, the feelings guy.
Oh, the one that says you have to feel.
Right, you have to feel.
Oh, Joe Dispenza.
No, but the other guy wrote books on feelings. Feelings is the answer or something. And basically, so you have to believe that the future is going to happen, and you have to feel that it's happening. And you do it for 3 things. So, for example, one of mine would be for our company that the marketing effort will be complete, and we're going to reach out to thousands and thousands of moms of 2-year-olds. It turns out there's there's 1.5 million new 2-year-olds every year in this country.
Wow.
So there's a huge opportunity there.
Oh my God.
So when I envision the marketing effort being complete, I envision the technology being complete, and I envision the company being solid and growing and serving millions and millions of people. And so I go through that, not every day, but pretty frequently. And I do that while standing on this vibration plate, which gives me a little bit more exercise
Oh, brilliant.
and shakes me up a little so that
Yeah.
I can get things going. And so,
Does the
And then-
vibration plate move? Is it a balance thing too?
It shakes you.
no, this one, actually, there are multiple kinds.
Oh, yeah, right.
And there's actually the whole science on that. There are balance plates that will take you side to side. It's not a balance issue so much. But it turns out that that can actually mess you up. And so a better kind of vibration plate is one they call a linear vibration plate. It just takes you up and down.
It's like walking.
I
mean,
mean, mine
why-
goes a little
No, it's
bit,
not
I
like
think it just jiggles like
Yeah,
that.
jiggles.
It's
It's a
hard- it's hard.
very small movement.
Yeah, because it doesn't feel like it's going
Less
up and
than
down,
40.
it feels like it's, I don't know,
Yeah.
Jiggling. I mean, and I call it the jigger.
Right. But
And,
it
and-
is going up and down.
But the other thing I want you to mention, because we've had a lot of these machines, we've shared them, like they'll find a machine. Well, we just found this technology, it's so cool, and then I buy it, or vice versa. And there's that one that I guess can give you an orgasm, but
Wait.
What is that?
Which one is
Let's
it?
talk about that. I'll have that one, please.
So I do have another machine. It's called a Qi machine.
The one for your ankles.
One for your ankles.
Yeah,
So
it's
you
just
lie
so
down,
good.
lie down on the floor and you put your ankles in this thing, and it vibrates your ankles, just your ankles. And you could use the vibration platform for that. So it's kind of redundant.
No,
But-
no, it's not redundant at all, because it is a chiropractic thing. It moves your body so subtly, your
But
feet
I'm
back
saying
and
you
forth.
could use the vibration, the other vibration machine to achieve this similar effect.
But you can't.
See,
Because
we're back to this, we're back to the
the one-
husband-wife.
The one, the Qi machine shakes you and it starts to ripple up your back.
Right.
So
That's
that
Oh.
it puts your spine in a straight
It
place.
vibrates side to side.
And,
does.
and the
Right,
vibration
yes.
of
I have
that
one of those.
does not do that to your back.
I don't like it. It also probably doesn't give you an orgasm either, but.
Well, I think that somebody, where we got it, like at that yoga place or something, they said it does that, but anyway.
Yeah.
So I think that
Oh,
we
yeah,
should
she
stop
only
the
information.
live on Facebook and go over to Clubhouse. What do you think?
I don't think so.
You don't think
because,
so?
We don't,
It's 1:30.
yeah.
We have a guest over there just sitting there, so I'm not sure. This is
She's
my-
probably watching us
Yeah,
on Facebook
Rose
Live. Hi,
usually is on.
Rosa.
Yeah.
She's gonna be our guest on April 15th.
Yeah. So,
And so I think we're good, because I think Rose is probably on Facebook right now. I'm finding this fascinating, being live like this all together. I mean, we're maybe
This is
only
a
gonna
first.
get to do that 2 or 3 times a year.
So then
even.
I will ask Byron a question since we're
But
not on.
one more piece of equipment. Tell them, because I can't ever explain it right, the electrical mat, because I really think everybody needs that.
Well, I don't have an electrical mat. I have an electrical device called a Healy. And actually, I attach it with wrist straps on
H-E-A-L-Y, right?
H-E-A, and it's a heel, like in healing a person with a Y on the end.
Healy, okay.
And
But wasn't that the guy's name that invented it or something?
the guy, well, there's a couple of guys who invented this technology. One of course, was Nikola Tesla. He was a great believer in electrical frequencies, helping people. There was a guy named Royal Rife, R-I-F-E,
Yeah.
who basically cataloged thousands of frequencies called the Rife frequencies, the golden frequencies, something like that, of electrical energy that had different effects on the body. And some of these effects were really amazing. He had things that would cure malaria and
Well, cancer.
and cancer.
That's why he got in
cancer,
so much trouble.
heart problems and so on. So the technology's evolved. I mean, you used to have to spend $10,000 You get this hulking machine with tubes and so on, as in the Rife era. And now the technology is you get this little 2-inch square device with wires coming out of it that you can connect to your body, and it gives you the same frequencies and even a bigger range of frequencies, and they have phenomenal effects. I've used it for there's like hundreds of modes for this thing. So one's positive thoughts mode, and yeah, after half an hour on that, you're just smiling. It's amazing.
Well, there's a lot of data on it, but I think if it was right,
And is that vibration? Is that
a lot.
vibration?
It's
Electrical
electrical.
vibration.
It's an
It's
electrical.
very small electrical currents through your body.
And they had actual some of this is on YouTube now, but they had people's tumors getting reduced with those things. And then a lot of that data was destroyed. But what's happened with social media is that few people had this piece, few people had that piece, and they've shared it. And so now more and more people are learning these things. But of course, do we hear it on the front page of the New York Times? No. Do we see it in?
Oh, so I'm sorry. This is a reminder for me not to interrupt you.
Okay.
Oh,
So anyway, a lot of this technology has been out there. You know, I am in energy medicine, metaphysician, right? They think metaphysics is new age. Aristotle is the one who wrote the book, for Pete's sake. So it's just this good information's been squished. Why? It goes back to the beginning, because people wanted money. It wasn't, they wanted to solve the problem. Now we've got world problems, we've got all kinds of stuff that we don't get our act together and have love be the whole thing that we're trying to promote, and that we hope somehow in there we're going to make money from something that we get asked to do, because we can. That's how money really works and flows. But we have a world that's so mixed up right now because the good information has been withheld from the public. And so now we're scrambling around, at least the four of us, and we know a lot of people that are really doing this kind of breakthrough thinking and trying to get the word out.
This Black Swan concept, which originated with Nassim Taleb, great guy. And then I embraced that for learning and identified what I call black swans of learning, and kinds of techniques for learning that are just amazingly powerful and effective, and that people don't believe. They're so powerful they don't believe in, and that's the black swan effect. So we're bringing those out, but a few months ago I gave a presentation on black swans of, what was it?
Was it technology?
No, it had Bob Proctor and
the black swans of success.
black swans of success.
Of self.
Black swans of success. There are these people who know how to make success, who have these techniques, and yet the world as a whole does not hear about them, does not know about them. They're not taught in schools. They're not available. You can buy the books on Amazon, but not many people do that.
Well, it's hard. The four of us have a pretty good amount of intelligence, but we're all four very analytical. So when we hear a piece of information, we want to know, where did it come from? Who said that in the first place? Does it really work?
It's a lot of work.
And so there are four of us that have basically been on a team forever, with some other really incredibly radical people that go through and try to figure out, is this true? Did this really happen? And it takes hours and hours and hours of work to figure out if this is actually a fact. And then when we come together and we talk about it, Laura remembers everything. So we don't have to repeat stuff. We don't have to go back and relearn stuff, because she'll remember everything.
I'm like a little parrot, I
She is.
just share it back.
So it's black swans of success. But lately, I've been thinking I need to come up with a talk on black swans of wellness, because there are these amazing techniques that have been developed over thousands of years that have phenomenal benefits,
Yeah.
and yet hardly people know of them. They see ads every 5 minutes on TV for this drug and that drug
Yeah.
and this
Yeah.
intervention. They don't learn about, and I have a list here on the screen here about Ayurvedic, for example. There's a huge amounts of wisdom over decades.
That's beautiful,
CBD,
Byron.
cleansing and detoxification are methods. Dry fasting is a method I just learned about recently. Everybody knows about the regular kind of fasting with water. There's a form of dry fasting which may even be more effective. Electrical frequencies, environmental sensitivities, or dealing with environmental sensitivities like natural gas. 1/3 of people
That's
are
amazing.
badly affected by natural gas and don't know it. Causes,
And that's how a lot of people heat their homes.
Well,
causes-
I love
causes-
cooking
causes-
on natural
yes.
gas.
And they
I
cook
don't
with
wanna-
It's
it,
fine.
yeah.
My daughter wanted to be a cook when she grew up, and she actually went to CIA, the Culinary Institute of America. But she found out that she was very sensitive to natural gas. She couldn't be in the kitchen, basically.
Wow.
Well, she also found out she had some food allergies too, and it was
Uh-huh.
kind of messed up, and she started eating a lot more organic and healthy, and it just
Sure.
wasn't her lifestyle. Byron, you and I, well, the four of us, I think, just really started researching oils. You don't have,
Right. So I have essential oils, and there's
Where is it?
aromatherapy. Right
oh
there.
yeah,
Exercise, of course. Food allergies. This was discounted by the medical community for
it
decades.
still is.
They said that you couldn't be allergic to food, and the people who knew and got it out there into the world, and it's had amazing effects on people.
But you know what I think is just shocking, because I go into people's houses or friends of mine or whatever. Oh, people talk about how we should take care of the environment and all of that. People, their house is full of such heavy duty toxins. Like, how many
Yeah.
people still burn candles that have fake scents in them, have those little plug-in things that have
Febreze.
really bad stuff
Mhm.
goes on with your brain with that stuff. The dryer
Dryer
things.
sheets.
Oh
Yeah,
my
I
gosh.
can't stand around walking in my neighborhood
Oh, I
at night.
can't either. And like, how many people still use Tide because it's marketed right and their mothers used it? But like, now I'm so clean on you know, a lot of the things that we do, that if I wear something, or I am sleeping in a bed that's been in some kind of heavy duty detergent, it just feels awful because my body feels so good all the time that now anything, but we're walking around zombie robots, not realizing that there are all these answers out there. The people are so toxic, they just deal with the next headache and the next thing over the counter, and they watch TV all the time to just veg out. Or in many states like Arizona, everybody smokes so much pot they don't feel anything anymore. and you know, I don't want to live like that.
Yeah.
Like, I love to feel, but I want to feel good. You know?
Yeah.
I don't mind the roller coasters of life. I love laughing, and sometimes things are kind of tough, but I want to feel that stuff. I don't want to be numbed out on, you know,
Chemicals. and-
soma or
Yeah.
you know, chemicals or whatever people are doing. I
So other things on my
except red
list.
wine.
Red
We don't
wine.
sell myself
It's good
out.
for your heart.
I like red
I
wine.
love red wine
It's good
so
for your heart.
much.
I guess I need to add that to my Black Swan.
Yeah, you should.
Well, because it is good for you.
Yeah.
Resveratrol, how do you pronounce that?
Resveratrol.
Oh, yeah.
Resveratrol.
Yes, that's
She proves my point.
Resveratrol.
Covers everything.
Oh, so
It's in
let me use that as a launching point. There's a lot of Black Swans in my life going back. I named this one for you guys. Michelle Thomas, the 3D language learning guy, and so on. But there's a new guy on the horizon. His name is Dmitry Katz, and he has studied one kind of intervention very thoroughly, and he does it he does it in two different ways. One is by studying the literature. He goes back, and there's been an amazing amount of medical research that has been done in the past century. It's just amazing. And The only things that actually make it into products these days are things that were invented recently enough that you can have a patent on them. Everything else just disappears. So cats got into niacin, and it turned out that a lot of the work on niacin had been done in the 1950s, and they figured out that niacin is really good for you. It takes your cholesterol down, your bad cholesterol down, and your good cholesterol up, better than any drug on the market, with no side effects.
Are you sure? Better than any drug, nice.
Would I lie to you?
No, but how can you prove
Are you
that?
questioning? Well, you can try it yourself. But yes, and medical literature says so. But you can't make money on selling vitamin B3. You make a little bit, but not like selling statins and all this stuff, which are really bad for you. They have terrible side effects.
Wait a minute. The reason that the money is on those drugs and not on niacin is because you can't get a patent on food, but you can get a patent on chemicals that replicate parts of food.
Well, but it has to be new. A patent only lasts for 17 years, so you have to invent new chemicals with new side effects.
So bad.
Every
bad.
17 years or 20 years, maybe 20 years now. So the big research on niacin was done in the 50s, but it continues along all this time, and it turns out that it has these amazing effects. And this is controversial, and you don't have to believe me, but niacin, he brought niacin forth more recently because it turns out that it prevents and treats COVID and deals with the long haul effects of COVID and with the side effects of the vaccines. And there are many side effects which are now coming out. The government VAERS database.
Well, plus if you combine it with acupuncture, you can have an orgasm with just resting, right? All you have to do is rest.
So let me continue with the Black Swan guy, Dimitri Katz. So he has attracted a community of thousands of people who are trying out these different kind of concoctions. And the trick about niacin is it causes flush. So if you take pure niacin, it can.
I like that feeling.
It can.
I mean, I get red.
It drives the blood through your body, which actually turns out to be a good thing.
Yeah.
And in fact, my Chinese sister-in-law, she was told, well, there are ways if you take something else, you can avoid the flush. And she said, no. He said, in the Chinese world, having rosy cheeks is a sign of good health.
Oh, interesting.
And so
Wow.
being rosy all over your body, all your cheeks, rosy, is a great sign of health.
I get so
And it's very positive. It opens up, it destroys clots in your body, and makes you feel better, makes you think better.
But you took a lot, right? I was taking only, I forgot how much it was.
The kind of maintenance dose is about 1 gram per day, which is about 20 times what would be in your normal B vitamin.
And you can't do that first, right? You have to work up to it.
Right. It's
Like
recommended to work
if
up.
I took 1,000 today, would I blow up?
It's not dangerous,
It's not
but you may not like it because it
I
does
get
produce
really
this.
hot.
It produces this flush.
Have you guys ever done it? It feels like, I mean, I like the feeling. It feels like a million tingles in your skin.
Or it's kind of like a sunburn without the lasting damage.
But it doesn't hurt.
Well, like it
doesn't hurt.
Yeah, it's like a red, like the earliest signs of a sunburn, where it just feels kind of warm feeling all over your body. And Dimitri, the scientist that he is, of course, he's completely shunned by the medical community and thrown off of Patreon and all these things.
Really?
Because he came up with a way of dealing with COVID. But it turns out this has all kinds of positive effects other than COVID. And he's worked through trying to figure out how to deal with the flush effect. And so he started out with melatonin, which turns out to be good for you for other reasons.
I take melatonin.
And actually that resveratrol was something that he
Yes,
said. He
resveratrol.
actually tried resveratrol, and I was the one who pointed out on his Telegram channel that resveratrol has its own side effects, that it's an estrogen imitator.
Oh.
And so if you have any kind of disease that is accelerated by estrogen, like cancer, and you really don't want to take significant amounts of resveratrol.
I'm sorry, I thought somebody blew up the hotel. I wasn't quite sure what that was.
I'm having so much fun. We could just talk all day, but then people will get bored.
Yeah.
So
I know, we're gonna wrap up soon.
So anyway, I would encourage people to look for, he has a Telegram channel, which is homeostasis with the E replaced with a 3. So
Oh.
Homeostasis with a 3 in the middle. And a lot of good stuff there. He has a huge community. He's living on a shoestring.
Where is that? Is that
on Telegram? Telegram.
Telegram
is one of those places that people migrated to when Twitter threw them off.
Oh.
Telegram? I've never
I've
even heard
heard
of
of Parler.
Yeah, no, Parler never really seemed
Really
to
took off? No.
But Telegram has lots of really good stuff on Telegram. And he's now reached the point, keeps refining this method, trying out different things. One, to moderate the flush. Now he believes that moderating flush isn't that important. It's like, get over it. Because eventually, after a while, you get used to it and your body stops flushing. But there's a necessity to get your capillaries open and really get things moving.
You call it capillaries?
You call it capillaries?
Yeah.
I say tomato. You say
Well, what's the proper thing?
I think it's
Capillary.
I've never heard capillaries.
I love that. Capillary. It's almost fun.
It may be
How do you like
I
it?
think we should name something.
My capillaries are feeling really good today.
It may be I'm just wrong.
Could be a Canadian.
Maybe a Canadian British thing. Yeah.
I think it's like that, because it's, they say
it's like a tomato.
Smoking
tomato.
shuts down your capillaries.
Telegram Messenger, is that what it is?
I don't know if it's Telegram Messenger. Yeah, that's the right icon to use, Telegram.
Holy moly.
And so he's tried different things. One of the stages turned out to be really, really exciting for me, and I guess I could get to the acupuncture story later. But he got to one of the niacin moderators he tried out was L-serine, S-E-R-I-N-E. It's a natural amino acid that's used in the body. It's in foods and so on. So he tried that out, and it turns out it's not his favorite thing anymore. But it turned out to have this amazing effect on me. And these ladies saw that one day.
Couldn't stop laughing, and we were laughing so hard.
That
you should tell them
L-serine.
that you had depression for years, which I didn't even know, because this is like shocking that you're like two different people.
So L-serine just makes me feel good. I take 3 grams of it in the morning, and I just feel good every day. My brother takes niacin and L-serine now, and he's had some interesting effects. The most startling was the most recent one. He went to get his haircut recently, and his barber or haircutter of 15 years said, "Did you get implants?" He had cancer and radiotherapy in the early 2000s, and it left him with a permanent bald spot. Since he's been on niacin, the circulation has improved so much to his scalp that his hair has grown back.
Whoa!
He's also experienced a resumption of dreaming. For decades, he almost didn't dream. He was working really hard. He'd wake up in the middle of the night and solve problems having to do with his work. He really didn't dream. And he's noticed since being on L-serine that his dreams have come back.
That's very cool.
I think we're gonna have to have Byron back sometime.
Yeah, we will.
I'm never gone. What are you talking
about? He watches us, so now he's actually.
You know what's fun is that we're all together.
Yes.
And
this is very special.
It's very
special. In a hotel.
And in your Black Swan outfits.
Yes.
It's this, going back to what you called my plug, but it wasn't my plug, it was just we have to get together, because the way the world, most of, anybody who's
No, I want you to succeed with your retreats or with our retreats.
You're gonna be there. I just
You're
got
gonna be a
back,
big success.
I just got back from 3 months in Costa Rica. And
That's a retreat.
What?
That's a retreat.
Yeah, well, and it was really interesting because they live a Pura Vida life, which is very much like homeostasis. So they have been for ever, I mean, they're Mayan, but they want to live in a way that has rhythm and flow for their lives and everything in it. So they don't really, whether you're rich or poor doesn't really define anything other than where you live, and you have a lot of nice cars there. But everybody gets along. You don't hear people yelling or yelling at their kids. You just don't hear very many raised voices. They take care of all the animals. I mean, all the street dogs or whatever, somebody, the city will take them and nurture them and put
Neuter. Murder. So what is that?
I thought you were like saying murder.
Nourish.
Well, when you get neutered, it is kind of like murder.
Yeah.
It's not very nice,
Yeah.
but anyway, they do that, and then they put a collar on them to say that they're homeless. And so then all the restaurants let them in, and the people feed them, and the dogs are so used to being taken care of, they never bite or come up and, they don't jump on you or try to get some food from you. They just sit next to you in the restaurant and their tail will just wag.
Oh,
it's a communal dog resource.
That's, and it shows you human behavior, right? When you're satisfied, you don't have to bite. And so here's this little guy who's wagging his tail, and you go, okay, I see you, I'm gonna give you a piece of food. And so you just take a little piece of food, and they just go like this. They don't grab it. They don't grab it and run like you'll see in the United States. They just take it very gently, and then their tail will wag again, and they're like, are you gonna give me some more? And you'll go like, okay, now you've had enough. And they'll just gently get up, go over to the next table. And it's the cutest thing on the planet. And then on the beach, you actually see dogs, and the Costa Ricans love their pets. But their pets love them, and so almost nobody's on a leash.
Yeah.
Like they all just want to be together. And the people are like that. They're kind and respectful to each other, but they're pretty responsible to their own selves, to their families, and to the environment. They pick up trash. Like I almost saw no trash the whole time I was there. I didn't, a friend of mine right now is in Mazatlan. He sent me some pictures. I mean, the graffiti was just unbelievable, and I've had arguments about this, but people will say, well, graffiti is just art, and I'm telling you, it is not art. Graffiti is destruction, and when you allow communities to start being mean and destroy things that belong to other people, it's fine that some of them are pretty pictures, I'm glad with that, but graffiti's graffiti and it's destruction. And once you allow people to start having destructive behavior, I think Satan jumps on their head and goes, yay, we're gonna really do a bunch of stuff. And they start being destructive to society. And so when you see a society that has got a ton of graffiti, and like Paris has that, Rome has that, London has that, where it's just like so much graffiti, and because I know what I know about energy and how it works and how people are happy or not, you can see the reflection of that graffiti in how people behave around the graffiti. And so I was amazed at almost no graffiti in Costa Rica, because they're not aggressive. Nobody has to be aggressive to get what they want. Anyway, guys.
Yeah, I know we need to go.
Yeah, and we need a joke, or
Okay.
we need
I
something.
got a joke.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for your patience today.
Yeah, we got off on, I mean, we're
There are
off
quite a
on
few people watching.
Really?
Yeah.
They're still watching. Hello, everyone. Thank you for bearing with us.
Well, today's been a special day.
It has been a special
It's a
day.
full
We
moon.
also found a place to run our retreat, so that's
Yes,
one
yes.
of our retreats.
Full moon. Byron's gonna stay over at the Franciscan Renewal Center, we're
Then we
gonna
get
go
to
over
see
and
the
have wine with them tonight.
Phoenix Lights too.
And you're allowed to have wine at the Franciscan Renewal Center as opposed to other places, because of course, the Franciscans
You have
mostly
to.
drink wine. What's your joke?
That fish is so classy. It's like he's so